You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Grimm After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Grimm After Show.
Hey there, Grimsters, and welcome back. It's been a long Olympic break, but we're back talking Grimm here on AFTERBUZZ TV. It gets so loud there.
Oh, man.
Joining me today is my new co-host, Dillon Chance.
Hello.
Yell Teagle could not be here today. She'll be back in a couple weeks, but so we hope she's doing well, and we'll see her soon. But let's jump right into episode 313.
Yes.
Revelation. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Here we go. So we open up on Nick, we smack right back in. We're in the dead middle of an episode.
Yeah, we got left off with the, oh, crap.
It's not just a to be continued.
Yes.
It was really like we cut this in half.
Right in the middle of a fight scene.
Come back after you've been watching skiing for a couple weeks and you're done with curling. And so we come back and it's Nick versus Monroe's parents.
What a good setup there.
Imagine being those racist parents, but imagine you're they're dealing with all this stuff with Rosalie, and they're like, oh, how can you be with her? And then just a Grimm walks in. And Monroe's having the worst day.
Yeah, he showed up at the perfect time.
Or the worst time.
The
or
perfect
the perfect
worst
time.
time.
Yeah. But Nick just has to he's just standing there, and Monroe's dad comes at him. He's just like,
he just knocks him in the face, right in the lip.
Well, what do you think of this scene? The whole dynamic between, and not just the scene, but this whole 2-part episode with Monroe's essentially racist parents.
Well, they had a lead up. You knew it was coming because he kept talking about how he hasn't told his parents yet about Rosalie, and he hadn't told him about Nick because he always talks about all these stories of how they've been telling him how grim or evil his whole life when he grew up. So
yeah,
you knew it's bound to happen sometime.
And we had a really good moment from Monroe when he's showing him the book.
Yeah,
it's this is my favorite part because that's where they rip the Grimm apart. Nick's like, oh my god.
And he goes, well, not you.
And just because Monroe's the best, and Monroe is sadly the best character on the show.
Yeah, I love him. He's awesome.
Yeah, since episode 1. But that moment, it's just the heart of the entire episode, or not the entire episode, but the entire series. Was that Nick is a Grimm, which is this evil being to these creatures.
Yes, yeah, he's their boogeyman.
Yeah, so they would have children's books,
sure,
where they go into destroying them, ripping them to shreds. So we got more of Monroe's parents and Rosalie, and we saw especially in the opening, we saw her crying in the spice shop.
Right.
She's really torn up about this. She's dealing with the fact that she could potentially destroy Monroe's family.
Yeah, and she even said I don't want to be the cause of this because she was torn apart from her family. So
yeah,
and
now
it makes sense.
With that, we're seeing a little bit more of why we saw the 2 family episodes right in a row. So it was nice to get her side of the family and then Monroe's side. It was a little this is really quick between the family episodes, but that kind of helped, I think, to get know more about Rosalie's backstory, because she did sort of tear apart her family. She missed her dad's funeral because she was in jail.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's some dark stuff.
But you did see how Rosalie's family was a little more accepting. At first they were standoffish, but then it was more just to her, not so much as, oh, she's dating a blue bot. It was just, they were just mad at her. But once they saw that, they were like, okay. They kind of threatened him a little bit, but they were fine
Yeah,
with it.
the cute way, like, I will threaten
Right.
my sister's, like, boyfriend.
Right,
So I'm
exactly.
like, I got a shovel and a shotgun in the back. I don't have either of those things in my car, but I'll tell them I
Yeah,
do.
they don't know.
They're not going to check. Except that, yeah. Except for the time I did. What? I definitely did not murder 3 of my sister's ex-boyfriends.
Let that be known.
Yeah, moving on. But we saw a little bit of Rosalie trying to deal with it with like Juliette. So Juliette comes over at one point, and they're trying to talk it out, and that's when we see a little bit more of the Vildashir description, which we'll get into in a little bit. But the part of the thing that God, it confused me. I didn't know what it was. They called the Fatrauline. Fatrauline.
The mom and
Yeah,
Rosalie?
the ritualistic
Yeah.
smelling of each other.
It just looked like they were smelling each other's like necks or cheeks or something.
I expected something else, like something big to happen with that.
yeah, I thought they were gonna like duel or something. But
Yeah, yeah. That's what I like. They built it up. They were
Right.
like, "Should we do the Fautra line?" And
Yeah.
it's like, "Whoa, what's this thing gonna be? Are they gonna battle?" And then
Right.
like, if Rosalie wins, it's all fine.
all good.
They're like, "Well, you can marry our son because you have defeated us in
Right.
the ring of death." No,
you defeated a blue bod.
it's just. And then they cut away.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that accomplished. I guess it's.
I don't. Maybe it's like maybe it's like dogs sniffing each other's butts or something. I don't know.
guess. I mean, a fox and a wolf are not that drastically different.
True.
And if you go break down to the animal species, they're still both canines.
Right. And it looked like for a second that Monroe's mom, the second sniff, she looked like she didn't really like it, but
You could hear growling. I don't even know which one of them was growling. Somebody was growling.
I'm pretty sure it was the mom.
Well, they both were. They're both like, no, I hate you. And I just want. I'm hoping. I wish that they had gone more into it.
Maybe they'll bring that back.
But we saw them like, and we got that amazing scene at the end. I was laughing out loud.
Yeah, at the table.
It was amazing. The dinner scene.
Yeah.
It was just the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Everybody.
Complete silence. Juliette tries to break it and says the wrong thing. That's great.
The best part, well, Juliette, this is like the great thing about her being there because they all like flip out and vote.
Yeah.
All of them. And Nick's just like, oh my God.
Right.
Please, like, oh, don't do anything. Juliette's saying she has no
Yeah.
idea that anything has
What?
happened because
She can't
it was
see.
just the voguing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
really
yeah.
like showed off anything.
That's pretty funny. I like that Nick stood up with a knife. Calm down. Everyone's like, oh God, Grimm has a knife.
The parents are like, no, we don't need any of that today. But we got a little bit, I mean, Monroe's dad, the thing with this storyline for me is that it felt, maybe it was that it was stretched out over 2 episodes, but it didn't feel like they were doing anything new with it. Like, we've seen the racist parents thing, and I get that it's a hot topic right now because in society we're dealing a lot with like homosexual marriage and stuff like
or
that.
Mixed races. Things
Yeah,
like that, yeah.
and well, mixed races marriage today, at least where I know in some parts of the world and in the
Yeah,
country.
well, that's what I mean.
that's
Some
still-
parts
but
of the world is
for
still-
the most part, that's not as much of an issue
Right.
today. The gay marriage is the bigger thing,
Right, yeah, true.
But this didn't really feel that the gay marriage thing didn't parallel that well for me. It wasn't as strong, and at the same time it was very clear, but it wasn't doing anything new with it that really. It didn't show us a new light. It didn't show us a new angle. Maybe it's just because we live in Los
Right.
Angeles and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went to like the #1 most gay respecting college in the nation. Shout out to Emerson College. But it just doesn't feel like it was a story that needed to be told exactly the same way it has been before.
Yeah,
albeit with these characters.
Right. It did feel very like I've seen this before.
Yeah, and that, I mean, something I'm curious on your thoughts. Do you think this one needed to be 2 parts?
I feel like they could have cut some scenes, sped things up a little bit and made it into 1 episode. But I feel like they wanted just to make the Wheelshare more scary, give them more story time. And to fill that, they had to make more family time. And I don't know. It could have been cut down, I think, but I don't think it bothered me too much that it was 2 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like they could have fit a lot of this stuff into 1 episode. I guess that's what I'm coming from, is that, like, it didn't, I don't know that it needed, like, a full, essentially feature-length episode to deal with it, but I mean, I get that they needed something to keep us on a cliffhanger between the breaks, and with that, we're going to take a quick little break and talk about iTunes. Transitions. I'm getting better at them. Thanks for tuning in, folks. It is great to know that you guys are all listening to us. We love talking Grimm. We're both fans of this show. Yell's a fan of the show, even though she's not here tonight. And we want to make this the best podcast it can possibly be for you at home. And you're asking, how can you help us out? How can you help us make it best? You can go on to iTunes and you can hit us with a rating. You can hit us with 5 stars. That'd be great. 4 stars, also good. 5 stars would be better.
Yeah, 5 stars.
But just like, be honest, hit us with a rating. It means the world to us when you tweet at us, when you comment on the YouTube. We can get into conversations about theories and stuff on there. And the bonus of all that is you get a shout out on the podcast. Ooh. You get to hear yourself. So I want to give a couple quick shout outs. Nicholas Yanais. I'm butchering your name.
Oof.
Yanes, and it says, great job. I appreciate that you bring up the comics every now and then, and we will get to more comic books later in the show. Evan Meadow points out that the comic series is going to be ending with issue 12. So it is a limited thing. Ronnie J has a big comment, but we'll just do the thing. He says, great show, guys. I'm excited for this baby. I want it to be Renard's, and I want him to love it, protect it, go full dad.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's already doing a little bit of protecting in this episode. And then 1757 PvP FTW.
Nice name.
1757 player versus player for the win?
Oh.
Maybe?
Hey.
I still don't know what that means, but...
It's 7 versus 7, you say?
1757.
Oh.
Either way,
1757.
They pointed out that there have been some pretty gruesome things other than the scalping. We were talking about how gruesome the scalpings were.
Yes, they were pretty gruesome.
And yes, there have been some horrifying things. The bathtub scene comes to mind.
Which one was that? Refresh my
memory. It was the radioactive guy.
Oh, yes.
Who could, like, he would just, like, give you basically cancer super fast.
The Russian guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a crazy episode. I loved that one.
He was cool.
But what was really gruesome in this episode was we got more of the Wildeshire.
Yes.
They were so, I mean, he's continues to scalp. He does it a little bit more.
To the park ranger.
He's got his coat. Actually, did they scalp the park ranger?
Oh, they showed his body, but I can't remember if they scalped him.
I don't think they did. They've already got their coats of armor. They don't need any
more scalps.
He's a park ranger. Let's be honest here.
No offense to any park rangers.
No. But it was kind of funny. He's like talking about like warriors and stuff. Park ranger's not the first thing that comes to mind. Although he was brave, he like pulled his gun out. Even though they're like, get out of there, and you're like, get out of there, guy.
Do not stay.
They've just told you, extremely dangerous. You know, there's at least 2 of them because there's 2 cars. Get out. Run. No. He's dead. Instantly. And that was a cool rev. Like, we thought we were just tracking one gruesome, powerful
I thought it was just one guy, too.
And then 3. Not just 2, but then 3 revealed at the end. And that the third one that comes out is just like... comes in like stomping on the ground, like boom, boom, and he's just like...
I kind of laughed at him, the third one. I don't know why. He just seemed a little cheesy to me. The other 2 were cool looking, and all of a sudden he just came out all cheesy, like, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'll go with it.
Yeah. Well, the first 2 that came out were like, they were what we're used to in Grimm. They're like kind of regular looking built guys that suddenly like vogue, and then they look creepy.
Right.
This guy comes out, and he's like the Hulk version of Wildeshire. And then but they're not Wildeshire, they're Caucha Morte?
Yeah, Caucha Morta is what I wrote down.
They didn't go into what the difference was.
Yeah, because he said, is that the same? And Monroe said, pretty much. Like, yeah, close enough, I think he said.
But different enough that they made a point of it.
Yeah, so that's weird.
I don't know. I assume it has something to do with the Wild Hunt.
Well, when I looked up the names, Wildeshire was a German name, and Cacciamorta was an Italian name. So maybe they're like the same. They just
from
Two different.
one's from Italy.
Yeah, one from Italy, one's from
He's
Germany.
the Roman guy, you know. What accent was that? I should not do accents in public. But we were introduced to the Wild Hunt, which was the title of the last episode, but then they introduced what the Wild Hunt is here,
Right.
which is fine. But we get to know it's the foreshadowing of doom. Is basically what.
Oh, yeah.
Because Monroe's dad comes
Yes.
in at the last second, and I want to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But, like the Wild Hunt, he's basically foreshadowing the impending, like some kind of them coming, because when they show up, there's lightning and there's a storm, like there's wind. There's a supernatural thing that happens that when they show up, and it means that something really bad is going to happen.
Yeah, I have the quote that he said. He said his grandfather, every time there was a storm, would say, if Wildesheers ever came back, it meant something really bad is going to come next.
Yeah.
Something somewhere was going to happen that would change the world.
Yeah. And then snap cut to
Adalind.
I mean, we all know what the bad event's
Yes,
going to be.
yes.
But we'll come back to Adalind. I want to talk a little bit about the fight,
Oh,
because the fights are really cool. This one confused me a little bit.
the Wildesheer fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because these are super powerful warriors
Right.
of legend that come back only once in a while when there's a massive bad thing about to happen in the world. And two run-in-the-mill blue bot, and one, granted, he's a super Grimm.
Yeah, he is a super Grimm.
Which I haven't said on this show before, but I've been calling him when I
The
watch.
Super Grimm.
Because he got like the zombie extra
Yeah.
powers, so he's a super Grimm.
Yeah,
He's
and you
not
see
just
him
Grimm.
like sometimes going in this weird mode. They haven't discussed that yet. I'm waiting.
They kind of. I saw a tweet from the Grimm writers, which if you don't follow at the Grimm writers, or at Grimm writers on Twitter, it's great. It's great listening to like see what they say, because they talk a lot with fans about what's going on in the show and what's got planned.
I will follow them soon.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's fun that they actually are interacting with people.
Right,
You
right,
don't
right.
get that on a lot of shows.
yeah.
But we're talking about, I don't think they're going to deal with it the rest of this season, really. They set it up like being a zombie and coming out of it at the beginning of the season is going to, it just basically made him stronger. It made him even more powerful as a Grimm than he was.
Okay. Because he tapped into the weird dark side or something.
Yeah, or it's just like the PTZD, like the title of that episode is.
PTZD.
That was the title of the episode, post-traumatic zombie disorder. But that's whatever it is about that power and that stuff gave him special ability. It gave him stronger abilities as a Grimm.
Right.
And they were basically saying that's just how it is now.
Yeah.
That's
he
just
looks like he
life.
has like super adrenaline powers.
Yeah.
So.
He's got that super heart rate that
Yeah.
never goes up.
That's
and
awesome.
He's super strong now. But so even with Nick versus and the three Wildesheer, but he's just got two Blootbot on his side.
Well, blue bots are really strong.
They are, but so are Wildesheer,
So are
supposedly to a
Wildesheers, right.
much bigger extent.
Yeah.
But they take them down without much. Then they didn't actually scalp them.
Yeah, they just looked like they cut a little bit of hair off.
Yeah, they
That's about
cut their hair.
it. Just one little patch of hair.
So it's like the Dothraki, basically. If you chop off their braids, they are powerless.
Powerless.
But the Dothraki can still fight you. That's just their symbol.
Yeah.
This one, these guys, you literally just chop off their hair. Done.
Done. Not even all their hair. Just one little patch.
It was a little. Yeah, that was the thing. Is like it didn't seem too. That was my point of all this. Is it seemed too easy.
Yeah, it did seem too easy. I wish they would have put up more of a fight.
Yeah, Monroe's been fighting.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's got weapons, and Nick's super Grimm.
Sure.
Monroe's dad has not been fighting.
We don't know where
Well,
he comes
I guess
from.
that's true, but like he seemed kind of like a.
He did. They had him like on the ground.
Yeah. But they managed to take him down pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
And maybe that was
and-
all. Maybe that was it. Was all you needed was the idea that like if you cut off their hair, because it did look like they bled out of their hair.
Right.
So that could be like their creature, like their hair is just like veins.
That's their Achilles heel.
yeah.
All right.
Which I'm willing to go with. It was just like I would have loved to see a little bit like have to like get into the scalp. I apparently I just want gore.
Yes, you want.
So I want to see them cut into the scalp. If you're watching, I'm literally dragging my hand along the bridge of my hair.
You know what they could have done? I don't know what their plans are with Monroe's parents, but I mean, they could have made the fight a little darker. They could have maybe killed Monroe's dad.
that would have been dark,
Yeah.
but I would have been totally on board.
Right.
Not because I want to see everybody get killed, but that would have put Monroe through hell.
Yes.
I mean, he would have gotten to make up with his dad a little bit, and his dad got to like sort of give him his okay.
Yeah, because he helped him fight, with the Grimm.
But
oh well.
Yeah, but we know that now that it looks like they might stick around for a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like they're staying. Maybe they're going to stay for the wedding. Maybe they're going to get married.
Well,
soon.
they'll be back for. I'm sure they'll
come
be
back.
back for the wedding, which I believe we're getting before the end of the season.
Ooh. What do you think's going to happen when Monroe's parents meet Rosalie's parents or her mom and her sister?
I mean, I hope something. That's
hope they have a family.
I'm sure
Okay.
they'll have like a little tip. It'll be like a little comedy, like light stuff. The real trick about this wedding is going to be Nick at the wedding.
Is he invited to the?
They have to.
Yeah, they have to.
I think they actually made a comment about it. It's like, well, we have to invite Nick. Like, they have to do it. But damn, that is going to be a.
Yeah, because think about all their friends that don't know.
Because
they show up.
I imagine Nick's like the best man, so he's on like the dais or whatever,
Right.
like standing right there, and he all of a sudden everybody vogues and they're like, oh no, pandemonium at the wedding.
That'd be good.
It's coming soon. But let's talk about Adalind.
Okay.
Adalind, huge stuff going on over in Vienna.
Yeah.
It's Vienna, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's Vienna. We get Victor and Stefania.
Yeah, Stefania.
And so now Revelation, they're working together.
Yeah, that was big.
And they sort of just like glossed over it, and I'm sitting there like, wait, did we already? They moved into it so quickly.
I thought the same thing. I said, did I miss something before in another episode? Like, I didn't know they were working together.
Yeah.
But that was it. They were
but
just-
totally get it. Like,
Yeah.
they make sense that they've been working together this whole time. And as soon as Renard gets wind of this, he's like, get her out of
Yeah,
there.
he knew immediately. He put two and two together and said, get her out.
Yeah.
So they
And-
had, what's his name? Sebastian? Yeah, he
Yeah.
told Sebastian, hey, get her out of
Get
here.
her- and Sebastian is screwed.
Yeah, they know now.
Like, Victor knows something's up, and he's not going to stand for it. Like, he assumes that Stefania's telling the truth, which I'm sure he would. She doesn't really have a reason to lie.
Yeah, she had only to gain from that. So,
Yeah.
like, why would she lie?
Exactly. He's going to know who
Right,
did it.
because Sebastian was the only one around. She said someone's close to you has betrayed you. I mean, that's like his right-hand man.
Yeah, although I wonder if Sebastian is going to rat out on Sean. Ooh. Because Sean is like, I don't care. He basically was like, I don't care if it costs you your life. You get her out of there.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up to say to somebody
Yeah.
who's been helping you out for a bunch of years.
Well, if he's like, life debted to him or something.
Yeah, I guess
You don't know
we
what kind
don't
of
know
deal
their
they have.
yeah, we don't know their backstory,
Right.
where they met. We just know that they both work for the Resistance.
Right.
Although I guess if Sebastian it's not really a personal thing for him. They're fighting for the Resistance against
Right.
the Royals. I've talked about it over and over again. I love Victor in this series.
Oh, he's
it
cool.
raises the Alexis. First of all, I'm a big fan of Alexis Denisov.
Okay.
But the fact that he's on the show now just raises the stakes of the Royals so much because it's the part of the show we haven't gotten a lot of
know.
information on. I don't know what they are.
I know. Sean is the male version of the Hexen Beast?
Yeah,
or-
he's part Hexen Beast.
Part
He's
Hexen
like he's half Hexen Beast, half Royal.
Okay. So what's a royal? Like, what do they?
Like, I imagine that they have powers like the same way that like Prince Charming could like kiss a girl and she wakes up, like he could with Juliette when he kisses her, and like
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they have certain like inherent natural like magical abilities.
Okay.
But I want to know more.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really excited to know more.
I hope they just are like unstoppable. He like has to fight a Grimm, like no one else can touch him.
I mean, I think, have they fought before? Yeah, Nick and Renard had a fight once.
Yeah, and they were beating each other up pretty good.
Yeah,
they
so-
were pretty matched.
So he's good, but he's also part Hexen Beast.
Right.
So there's a little bit, I want to know what like Victor has. Like,
Right.
what is Victor's power set?
He turns into like this massive vampire guy.
Oh god, it turns out the Royals are just vampires. God, I hope not. I don't think that's
Hell,
actually going to happen.
Oh, take that back.
Yeah, if you want that, save it for predictions. But they get Adalind out.
right.
And they're running her through the woods, and here's my question. I'm curious about what you think. What does Adalind want at this point?
That's a good question, because at first it looked like she was going to go against Sean, and she was going back there to like rub it in his face like, hey, I'm with your brother now. I'm going to be living over here. I'm joining the Royals. But now she's going back, and maybe it's only because her baby is threatened that she's like, oh, I got to go back to him. He's protecting me. But
She was willing to sell her baby like
Right.
a couple months ago.
well, I mean, she just wants her powers back
Yeah.
above all else.
So then what do you think is in the, like she signed a contract
Right.
to essentially to sell her babies to get her powers back. Mm-hmm. What happens when she doesn't give up the baby?
I think they just come after her, try to kill her.
But this is like, but clearly there's something dark going on because she's rubbing that like bloody goop into her, and it's like forming skulls and spiders and like weird shapes. So that baby is going to be a dark, dark creature.
Right. So that means that baby is he's half royal, half
He
Hex
would
and
be
Beast.
a quarter
A
royal
quarter.
and 3/4 Hexen Beast.
Okay,
But
right.
it still has royal blood, so apparently
Yeah.
that's very, very valuable to
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So like more of like the royal, whatever the royals can do is super important.
Yes. Yes.
I'm waiting on the edge of my seat. I'm hoping we get more of that by the end of the season. But they're escaping through the woods, and now she's in a cabin. Mm-hmm. Gonna give birth.
Yeah.
We're finally,
Next episode.
finally going to get the baby.
Finally. What do you think it's gonna look like? A regular baby? Or is it gonna come out like Vogue with some weird mutant baby?
We saw it in the
Oh yeah, that's true. It looked normal. huh?
tease, and the baby at least looked normal for a moment, but that's on the outside.
That's true.
And we know that with Wesen, the outside is never what matters, or like
Right.
the first outside, because then they.
And the baby did throw a pin into someone's face and stabbed him in the eye.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that whole thing. That was an awesome scene.
Right,
He just gets into bed. What does he say? He's like, "Tell them you're not alone. What if they come in?" That's the point. That dude is super badass.
Yeah, he's cool. His name was what, Meisner?
Yeah, I think so.
that's what it
yeah,
was.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Okay, all right.
It's so many different European names.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes it's hard to keep track. But he just gets to the bed and he's just like, bro, come at me.
Yeah.
He's like, come at me, bro. What are you doing in here? Perfect amount of like, what are you doing in here? You need to get out. Do you work for the hotel? Like,
Yeah.
he plays them so
Right.
well.
I like how he's just laying in the bed with his shirt off, like they've been in bed together.
Yeah.
He just has a gun under there.
And Adalind plays it smart. She
Yeah.
plays right along.
And then her magic baby throws a pin into the guy's
Yeah.
eye.
So you think that's what it is? It's the baby doing it?
I think so, because she even said, like, he said, thanks for that, or whatever. And she said, I'm not sure that was me.
I guess, yeah.
So-
I guess I figured it was like subconscious when I first watched it, but that makes more sense.
Yeah, I feel like it was the baby subconsciously protecting its mother to protect itself.
That makes sense. I mean, you assume that the baby's not like making the calls,
Right.
like I should throw a pen through this guy's eye.
Right. It just kind of triggered her subconscious. and-
It's like Stewie Griffin in there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
plotting revenge, and like he's like, I will take this man out, or I will not escape the womb. But because we got the a few weeks ago, we got the electric storm like in the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah.
Or now the baby most likely.
Yeah, probably the
overpowered
baby too.
So I wonder when it comes out if the baby's going to just be like too much to handle, and they're gonna have to like run around just trying to like keep it from killing people.
That'd be wild.
The cabin is a pretty cool little
Murderous
location.
baby.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're in the middle of nowhere, so it's hard to murder too many people.
That's true. Hopefully, he doesn't kill that other guy, the cool
Yeah, I
assassin
don't want him
guy.
to kill my.
No,
he's
he's
just coming
cool.
into his own. And I actually think he's gonna turn out to be a more important character because of all the tattoos that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, there's more going on with this guy than we know of him so far.
Right. Is he? Have we seen him Vogue, or is he? I know he has to be a Wesen, right? He's working with them all.
I mean, I assume in some form. I don't think he has vogued. He could. See, this is why I want to know more about the Royals, because
Right.
if the Royals aren't like Wesen in the sense that they vogue or like have
yeah.
like a second thing, there must be lower class people that aren't Wesen. But I guess that's the humans.
yeah, but that wouldn't. Yeah.
So I'm not sure. So I guess it remains to be seen.
right. Well,
I mean, this is the fun of playing with deep mythology,
Right.
Which you really figure out how deep it is when you try to explain it to people. Try explaining the rules of Wesen and voguing to a person that has not watched this show. You will, because there's so many, it makes perfect sense when you watch the show. It doesn't make any sense when you tell somebody about it.
Yeah, that makes sense because even in the show, they don't tell anyone because they go, "Oh, you just think I'm crazy."
Yeah,
because it's so crazy.
Yeah. But overall, it was a decent episode, if a little bit stretched out.
Sure, there was a little.
My basic thoughts on it was that the Vildashir stuff felt, except for where it built at the end, where it tied into Adalind's storyline, it felt kind of tacked in there. We got to have a Wesen of the week.
Mm-hmm, right.
And then it sort of builds to this prophecy thing, which was cool. But I'm looking forward to getting past the two-parter and
back on track.
Yeah, getting back on track and getting really into this prophecy and Renard bringing Adalind back to Portland, which I'm hoping eventually she gets back there.
Now, do you think she's still going to hold a grudge on Nick? Because Adalind now is working with Sean, and Sean is working with Nick, but Adalind and Nick don't particularly like each other. So, what's going to happen there?
That's going to be some butting of the heads, I imagine. And now she's got her powers back.
And he took him away the first time, so.
Which I imagine is going to be a big deal. Now that she's got her powers back. Oh, and Kelly might come back. Kelly's in Europe.
Kelly
Burkhart, or Nick's mom.
Oh, Nick's mom, right? Kelly, I did forget her name.
Just easier to call her
mom.
Nick's mom. Nick's mom is in Europe. Maybe because I think she works with the Resistance. That's something from the comics that she has ties to the Resistance.
Okay.
I wonder if she is going to have to team, if she has to get Adalind out of the country.
Ooh, that'd be weird.
Because
she killed her mom.
Yep.
Oh man, this is getting deep.
That I would love to, because we know she's coming back this season.
Oh, she is?
At least for a couple episodes.
Okay.
She'll be back. I don't remember where somebody official said something.
Okay.
That she will be back.
Oh, you're right. I think I saw Grimm tweet a picture of her on set.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm anything more with more Grimms, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that we haven't gotten a lot about.
Yeah.
And I talk about that every week, is how much I want.
I know, another
more
Grimm to show up.
Yeah.
I want a Grimm to show up that's hardcore and just kills all Wesen, so Nick has to stop a Grimm.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I mean, it's one of the things that in the comics we got a little bit of this female Grimm that was basically raised that way because she saw her parents murdered by a Wesen, and so she spent her whole life. It was a really cool storyline that I wish had happened on the main show.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to transition over and talk a little bit about the comic books.
All right.
So this, over the break, because we had a while off, we actually got 2 books. We got Grimm issue number 10, and we got Grimm the Warlock number 3. They were both good. I liked the 10 one, which came out first, was a continuation of the storyline. Nick has been poisoned by this guy who wants to basically force him to be a hitman.
Okay.
Overseas, and this poison will kill you in a week. Now you have to do what I say, or I won't give you the antidote. So Nick basically has to go with him, and this one did something that I didn't. It was a little off for me because he didn't want to include Juliette in the whole issue because he didn't want to put her in danger.
Okay.
And then Juliette leaves her engagement ring behind, and it's throws a big. I'm like, that could have been really interesting. But for the comic book to do a major event like that,
right?
It felt leave that to the show,
right?
Because meanwhile in the show, Nick and Juliette are closer than ever.
Yeah, they're perfect.
So I don't know when this is supposed to take place, and so now I've got 2 versions of these characters running around.
It happened during the Olympics, so
yeah.
And then they solved it all.
Yeah, it's all fine now. And meanwhile, in Grimm the Warlock, we have Nick is in a completely different circumstance because this one he's dealing with this guy, the Warlock, who's super powerful, possibly immortal.
Maybe those are royals.
And each one has been. I don't think so.
Okay.
They're setting them up as a separate thing, but it's each one the Warlock series has been a different mini case. The first 2 were they had the case and they solved it, and then they revealed it was the Warlock behind it.
Okay.
This one they kind of didn't solve the murder. I mean, they know he did it, the Warlock guy, and it's a really cool Chinese New Year parallel, but it wasn't. There's one more in the Warlock series.
Okay.
And there's 2 more in the main series. So once we get the whole story, it'll be a lot cooler. But they have like a Chinese dragon character.
Ooh,
and like
that's
a
cool.
Tibetan Yeti type Wesen.
See, I want to see those on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Those are really cool things that we can deal with. What they go into in the Grimm 10 that's really interesting is that they reveal that they have a Lowen character, but he's a pure blood. Ooh. And this is something they haven't shown on the show, but I imagine they will at some point because the purebred Lowen is much, much more powerful. They're like the ancient order of Wesen.
Wow.
Like the original Wesen, right? Descendant from the original Wesen. And he basically sees himself as a god. He's like locking people away. He gets Rosalie rather in like chains. She's like hung up because he chains up all these girls to like basically eat them
because he's a lion.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's like a really cool idea of like where we can go.
Yeah.
With like these purebred Wesen. It's like more backstory on
Yeah.
the world.
That'd
that
be
like
cool.
it's an ancient race of people that
Right.
like we don't know anything about. So you imagine the further you go back, the more like insanity it gets.
It'd be cool
especially,
to see other purebreds, like if there was a purebred blue bot or,
Yeah,
that'd be cool too. Like maybe they're bigger or scarier werewolf
I mean,
people.
this one's like more powerful. Like,
Yeah.
they look the same, but they're more powerful,
Okay.
and so and they just are in a different class. It's almost like the royal version.
Sure.
If like royals are like superhumans,
Right.
They're like super Wesen. I don't know.
It's like in Harry Potter, the pure blood wizards and the mug bloods.
But they're not. No, they're the same. The mixed bloods and the Muggleborns and the pure bloods. They are all the same. They're all just people. These
They're
ones
all just
actually
people.
are
These
more
shapes.
powerful.
Right.
They are dangerous and should be avoided. But yeah, check out the comic book series if that sounds interesting. There's 3 more books to come before they shut down the series.
When do
for
they
the time
come out?
being. I don't have the dates, but they should be coming more in I think 2 weeks, maybe 3.
Okay.
Another one. And also over this break, they put out a lot of stuff. We got a cool little web series.
Yeah, the little web video.
Called Love is in the
Oh,
Air.
it's just for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it came out on Valentine's Day. It was a nice little halfway between halfway through the break. What did you think of the web series?
Well, it was a little cheesy, and it felt like it was maybe directed or maybe written by somebody else than the regular team. It just seemed a little different than the main show, and I don't know if maybe they just had to do it like that because Nick wasn't there, so they couldn't.
I don't have the who wrote it in front of me, but a lot of times with these, they try to do something more fun.
Right.
Either they have like one of the writer assistants, like give them a chance to write something,
Sure.
which is always fun.
Little quick.
Yeah, but either way, it was fun. It was cute. It wasn't supposed to be dark
No,
like the
sure.
main
Right.
series. This is almost like what if Grimm was a sitcom? Like the two of them yelling at the end, Madison.
Yeah, that was so cheesy.
It was so cheesy, but like it was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
It was a sitcom.
So, I feel we've seen that guy, or that type of Wesen,
The
guy, but it's a girl.
Zegavogue.
Right, remember
Yeah.
earlier, what was that, season 1?
It was season 1, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen the Zegavogue before, and that was like, so it was like, we got just something familiar, and they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out what to do with this.
Yeah.
It's like, for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's Juliette and Rosalie are there. Juliette's hosting like basically like a Tupperware party of
Yeah.
sorts where like a rep comes in. He's like selling them like
foot massager.
foot massager and like slippers and all
sleep
this like,
mask.
stuff like that. And they're like having cupcakes and wine and it's all
Bunch of girls.
Yeah, and so it's cute.
Yeah.
And then this guy comes in there. They find a frog in the back, and Julia finds a frog, and Rosalie's like, "I know exactly what kind of frog that is," and
yeah.
she's like, "That must mean that the host is a Zegavogue."
That's why he's buying. Everybody's buying all of his stuff.
And I'm watching. I'm like, I bet it's one of the girls. I bet it's one of the girls. And lo and behold, I was right.
You were right. See, I forgot about that type of Wesen. I totally forgot. And I'm like, oh, it's Valentine's Day. Are they going to try and do some kind of Cupid Wesen or something? Like, I thought it was going to be real cheesy and lame.
That would be super funny, though, if there was a Cupid type of Wesen who just went around, like, matching people up.
Matching Wesens and stuff.
As opposed to this one who just seduces people
Yes.
and just does what she
Does
will
bad
with
things,
them.
right? Because the last guy was like, kept them all in cages and Remember that guy in season
Sounds
1?
about right.
Yeah, so I wonder if this same girl does.
No, I think she just sleeps with them and then leaves them.
Okay,
Because
that's
they're
not
like,
bad.
she's always got a different boyfriend. Crazy old Ronnie. Causing problems. But it was fun. And so with that, why don't we, let's move on to predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I love
The
flashing
lights.
All right, so what do you think? We got the little preview. Basically, all we got, Adalind gives birth.
Oh no!
And she gets her powers back.
Yeah,
We've
they
talked
showed
a
her.
little bit about, but what do you think? What do you see as we go forward?
Okay, so we have the baby coming out. Evil baby that murders people. Adalind gets her powers back. What we got? What else we have going on? Well, like you said before, we're still waiting on Nick's mom to come back.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking since they're in Europe and Nick's mom's in Europe, something they're gonna mix. I really think they are.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna mix. I think we'll have, well, like you said, another another week will show up.
Yeah.
and-
Oh, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way the show works.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
have something new to deal with, but I think you're right. I think the Resistance is going to be trying to get. I think the rest of the season for Adalind is
to
going to be
get back.
trying to just get out of Europe.
Yes.
Because Victor's going to be hunting her down,
Yeah.
and he has a lot of resources.
That's true. And you'll have Stefania helping him and Victor, and they're all going to be trying to get them, but they'll be trying to get Adalind out. I wonder, you think maybe that maybe some problems will go down and maybe Sean will recruit Nick to help?
Oh, I'm sure if Nick is like available,
Yeah,
he'll get him in there. But I don't know if he'll want Nick to leave Portland. Although I would love to see him go.
That would be cool. I've been waiting for him to go somewhere else too.
Yeah, he's just been in Portland for a while.
Yeah.
If he gets sent out of town, that could be some really intense stuff.
Right. What if he starts running into Wesen and other towns, and then Wesen starts spreading the word that there's a Grimm traveling across the country? That would be.
I mean, they're already like they know he's there.
Yeah.
like the village here come
Sure,
for him in
yeah.
this episode. Like specifically, they hunt him down to the trailer.
Right,
Which
yeah.
is like move the trailer. It is
Now,
time.
too many people know
It
now.
is time to get it out of there, Nick. Find a new trailer park or like storage ground because everybody knows
Yes.
that it's there.
That's a bad spot.
Yeah.
It
All
needs to
right.
go.
So I think that's gonna do it for this week on Grimm. But it was a crazy episode. There's a lot more to come. We have about, I think, 9 more episodes left in this season.
right.
It is not a short amount of time. So Dylan, where can the people find you?
Oh, you can find me at Dillon Chance on Twitter.
And I'm Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. And you can also catch me here on AfterBuzz at the Almost Human finale coming up on Tuesday. Helix, Archer, and coming up next week, I'll be doing Resurrection
Ooh,
on the new
Resurrection.
ABC show. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.